Welcome to a very special edition of the Players Club. Today, we will be in the Players Club Discord answering all of your most in-depth relationship and situationship issues, where I will be giving my advice along with all of the other amazing members of the Players Club. So, if you're prepared mentally, physically, and emotionally, strap yourselves in. Grab your popcorn or your cereal, whatever you like to eat on a Saturday afternoon, and go ahead and enjoy the special edition of the Players Club. Welcome to the Players Club. If you're paying attention to me and everyone else on the live stream, please say here present so that I know you're here present and actively participating. Okay? Welcome all you beautiful souls. Nice to see you. I see we got a couple regulars here in the show today. We got Stargirl. I see Angie, K-Mac, Trachea. I see Cashley over in the YouTube chat, Electric Feel, Angie in the YouTube chat. And who else we got here? Island Girl, Irina. Welcome all you beautiful souls. So good to see you. So glad to see that you guys come and join me on a Saturday afternoon. Okay, we're going to hop right into it now. I want to make you guys aware of a few things because I know some of you really want to ask your question, but you might not know how. So I'm going to give you the instructions here from the very beginning. So very simple. We're going to hop into the Discord. Now, in order to ask your question, you have one of two options. You can either hop into the Discord and ask yourself a free relationship advice question. However, in the free relationship advice, I do those questions first come, first serve. And there is like a queue currently of like 100 questions. So you're not going to get your question answered on today's show if you ask it in the free relationship advice section today, unfortunately. If you join me on future shows, you will eventually see your question answered. However, there's a second option for those of you who are watching the show and want your question answered ASAP because you don't want to wait and you can't wait any seconds. You can go over to the premium relationship advice section in the Discord. And when you go over to the premium section, you'll be able to ask your question and I answer those first come, first serve. It's like skipping the line at a theme park. However, in order to join the premium relationship advice section, you must donate to the show. Now, the way that you donate to the show is by heading over to the link I have pinned up at the top here, or the link in my description if you're on YouTube, to where it says donate to the show, or the one that I have pinned up at the top in the live chat. And you go over there and you see where it says premium relationship advice section. You click that button and then you donate to the show. But very important, you must put in your username, like your Discord username, and the title to your question so that I can verify that that's you and that's your question. Okay, very simple. The same thing for those of you who are on TikTok. You go over to the premium relationship donation button. You click it, it'll open up PayPal. All you do is you donate, and in your message when you donate, you put your username and then you put the title of your question. Even if you haven't made the title of your question yet, just assume what the title will be and you can put it there so that I can verify that that's you. Okay, I want to make it very, very simple for you guys to follow today. It should be easy to follow. Now, if anyone else comes in and they ask how they can get their question in, just do a favor for me and help let them know, because when I'm answering these questions, I'm going to be so focused in on the question, it's going to be hard for me to answer. So do them a favor. Now, so that we've gotten that out of the way, let's hop into, actually, let me do this first. Chat, do you know what time it is? Can you tell me in the chat what time it is? I'm not talking about the clock. I'm not talking about your watch. I'm not talking about even the time on your phone. If you're an OG Players Club member, I want you to tell me in the chat exactly what time it is. Okay? Do you know what time it is? Can you tell me what time it is? Here we go now. Do you know what time it is? Can you tell me what time it is? Here we go now. Do you know what time it is? Can you tell me what time it is? Here we go now. Do you know what time it is? Can you tell me what time it is? I want to know in the chat now. Tell me what time is it in the chat now. Tell me what time is it in the chat now. What time is it in the chat now? Tell me what time it is. I want to know what time it is. I want to know what time it is. I want to know. I want to know what time it is. I want to know what time it is. I want to know. I want to to know what time it is. I want to know what time it is. I want to know. It's a very special edition of Discord time. All right, guys, let's head over into the Discord. Let me just make sure real quick that my YouTube chat is working properly and efficiently. You know, YouTube chat be liking to play around, so it seems like every time I gotta reset that YouTube chat just to make sure things are working how they're supposed to work. Just give me a second here. If I click my chat bot, refresh that. If I come down here, widgets, and then refresh that. Seems like I just have to refresh it every single time. And then once I refresh it, for whatever reason, it begins to work afterwards. Let's see. There we go. It's back. There we go. All right, so let's head over into the Discord. And like I said, if you're here into the Discord and you know you want your question answered right now, right away, all you got to do is donate to the premium relationship advice section, right? Go to the premium relationship advice section. You ask your question there. Those I'm going to be also, I just want to make this aware because this is a special edition. Obviously, I know in the process of me asking some questions, some of you are literally going to ask your question while I'm on the show. So periodically, I'm going to be checking back in on premium relationship advice, right? Because I'm going to get a notification on my phone as well. Excuse me, on my phone as well. And as I'm checking into premium relationship advice, I will be answering your questions in the span of answering the free ones as well. So we'll answer free ones until there's a premium one. Then we'll go back to the premium. So premium is going to be first come, first serve. And then the rest are going to be, premium is going to be first in line. Be able to skip the line, and all the free ones are going to be first come, first serve, but these are going to be from like weeks and weeks ago, okay? So just making you guys aware of how we're going to do the structure today. So let's start off with one that I missed yesterday. It came from, let me see what the name was that it came from. It was, it was this one. So it was Audrey. So I hope Audrey is here today because she said that she donated, but I missed her question yesterday. So let's see what Audrey's question is today. Audrey asks, what can we say when a guy asks what we're looking for after expressing we are only dating people who are what we are looking for? A lot of people say, I know when I'll see it, but that's a little vague. Actually, Audrey, it is vague, and there's a reason for it being vague. I actually purposely want you to give him an answer that is vague. So when we say things like, I'll know it when I see it, or, I just want a guy who's nice or want a guy who's funny, the purpose of it is to be so vague that the guy really can't get any real information from you telling him that anyways. Right? Because what you don't want is you don't want to go out on a first date with the guy and start yapping to him all the things that you want, all the things that you desire, everything that you feel. That way, he takes that information with him and then he figures out how he can design a custom-made suit for you that looks exactly like your Prince Charming. Because if you tell him all the characteristics of a man that you've always wanted, all the things you've never gotten, all the things you wish you got, what you fantasize about in relationships, he's just going to say to himself, great, now I'm going to know that if I do that, it's going to give me a lot of easy access to her. He's going to approach you doing that, pretending like that's always been him. And then you'll be in belief that he is the guy you've always been looking for. You'll sleep with him. And then when you sleep with him, only then will you realize afterwards that he's actually not the guy that you were looking for. The problem is, once you finally realize that, you've already slept with him and wasted the body. So you're kind of at a loss now, okay? You see how that works? and you don't want that. So that's specifically why I tell you to be vague. So if a guy tries to dig deeper, just pretend as if you are playing dumb. Just play dumb. I don't know. I'm not really that sure. You know, there's a lot of character traits around there. Sometimes I like guys, sometimes I'm not that into them, but I do know if I'm really feeling what's going on in the relationship. Just play dumb. Okay. You don't want to give him any information, and he can't get upset with you if you say that you don't know. What is he going to say? You should know by now exactly what you're looking for and be able to describe to me exactly what it is that you want in a man, because I'm only here to do exactly that. So if you can't describe to me what you're looking for, you're going to make me very, very angry. Look, what is he going to say? Okay. So once you play dumb, you've already won, because now he has no information to go off of. Does that make sense? Okay. So next question here. We have Brown Sugar. Okay. So Brown Sugar says, I'm new, sent my donation of 20. Okay. Thank you for your donation. So Brown Sugar says, I was a supervisor at a well-known communications company. He was an agent. Fast forward, we've been dating 2.5 years now. After a while, he stopped taking me out on dates. He complained he didn't have the money. I told him it was fine. I helped him find other jobs that were good paying temp jobs. He eventually told me a family member mentioned he wouldn't even do those jobs to help his mom. Wait, what? A family member mentioned he wouldn't even do those jobs to help his mom with bills, but he did it for me. Okay. I didn't understand the Discord being like, you didn't understand like the show and the Discord being that a man will change for a woman he loves. It seems his ambition started to change after that. Not much change concerning our outings. It came to the point where we were always in the house while watching Netflix. The Netflix was my account. That's that's pretty funny. Not too much activity outside of my job schedule. I started to hate it after a while. He spends all day on video games. He started saving for a ring in the middle of 2022. I ended up in a financial issue, and he gave me the $399 he saved towards a ring. Like a ring for you? Okay. That was a year and a half from now, or ago from now. He hasn't said anything towards it again. He hasn't saved anything towards it again since. So he hasn't saved any money towards a ring? How would you know that? Has he told you that? I got fed up with asking him to find a better job, save money, take me on dates, gifts, just because, and more intimate time together. To the point where when I moved out. Oh, wait, you guys were living together? Sorry, I don't remember you saying that you guys were living together. Okay, so you're living together. You moved out. I didn't call him. It's been a week now. I stumbled across your videos the 4th day of completely withdrawing. He texted me the night I left asking to continue the last box upstairs for me. Wait, what? So sorry, to come take the last, I'm just misreading stuff today. To come take the last box upstairs for me. I told him tomorrow. I just never called that next day. The second day, he sent me a reminder saying that don't forget to pay my insurance bill. Huh? Then later, he texted me to say to stay safe. There was a storm. I didn't reply to that message. On the 3rd day, I contemplated on how to handle things. Should I communicate? We need a break. He's been texting me. It's 8 days. It's been 8 days. Nice. Okay, you're in quite a conundrum of a situation. But I think the simplest thing for you to do is to sit back and relax and allow him to show you if he really wants to pursue you. Because I think you're having quite a lot of confusion. And also, okay, I'm going to be honest with you, and this is going to be mean. Part of your own confusion in your relationship with him is because he's a man without clear direction. Are you following what I'm saying? Now, I'm not going to put the blame on you for choosing a bad man, but I do want you to start thinking of your relationships from the standpoint of how he does his life is how he'll do his relationships. So what I mean by that is if you meet a man who doesn't have direction, doesn't know where he wants to be in the next 5 years, doesn't really know what he's doing or why he's doing it, that's a clear sign that the same way he has no direction in his life is the same way he'll have very little direction when it comes to your relationship. And so you have to accept that as truth and not think to yourself, oh, I'm going to find me a man who doesn't really know what he's doing with his life, but he's figuring it out. But when it comes to me, he'll be super intentional. He'll take me out on dates. He'll think about me. He'll be ahead of things. Like, that's just not how he's going to operate in a relationship with you, because that's not how he treats his entire life. Are you following me? So I think part of what you're suffering from is the lack of direction you feel in your relationship with him. But based on what you described, and you perfectly described how exactly the same type of lack of direction he has in his relationship with you mirrors the lack of direction he has in his life with his job and his career, right? Because you're fed up asking him to find a better job, save money, and all that good stuff, but you're also fed up asking him to take you out on dates and get you gifts and be intimate. So the same way he's treating his job and his career is the same way he's treating you, with no direction and no clear end goal, right? And you kind of have to make a decision for yourself where, until he comes up with the bright idea on how to take control of his own life and start moving forward in a forward direction, that's the only time you can really entertain him. Because outside of that, you're only going to end up seeing the same type of outcome in your relationship with him, because he's living his life the same way. So until he decides and this is going to sound very weird, but until he decides for himself that truthfully the most important thing to him is figuring out his own life and figuring out where he wants to be and figuring out how to get there, until he starts moving forward in that for his life, that's the only time you'll ever see anything different in your relationship with him. A man who is lazy and uninspired and unmotivated when it comes to getting a job or building his career will for sure 100% of the time be lazy and unmotivated to do anything when it comes to building his relationship with you. Okay? Very important that you recognize that. All right. Okay. Next year in premium relationship advice, I do remember we have one from Lydia. Lydia's was long, so guys, buckle up. Lydia's is quite a conundrum. All right. This is quite the one. It might be the longest one we've ever seen. Okay. So Lydia says, "This one broke my heart. You are my last opportunity to get over it." Okay. Lydia says, "Hi, Tomisin. I can't describe how thankful I am that there is a man who spends 2 to 3 hours of his day to give this broken generation advice like you. Thank you. I appreciate that. From the bottom of my heart, thank you, Tommy. I appreciate you." It's the German 20-year-old med student again who tries to figure out how to find love. It's very difficult to be. I'm expecting essay format from you. You're a 20-year-old med student. This better be an essay format. MLA and all that good stuff, citing your sources and all that good stuff. It's very difficult, to be honest, because I feel like I'm the only one who wants a real connection instead of lusting over each other. I assure you, there's more people out there like you. You just have to find them. I don't want to sound arrogant, but to be honest, I would say that I am quite a pretty girl. It makes me sad that the way how I look after my body going to the gym always attracts rubbish. I mean, you're going to attract all types of guys, rubbish and good. Okay. Even if I see that these men are actually hurt most of the time as well, trying to show them how beautiful a genuine connection can be always fails. You're never gonna convince anyone of that. It's as if you be trying to persuade flies that honey is better than BS. Okay, and they want the BS. Anyways, back to my story. A few months ago, I started dating someone for 2 months. He texted me on Instagram and we started to send each other pics. No, don't be scared. No nudes. Okay, good. Because when you say pics, sending each other pics, it makes me nervous. Glad it wasn't that. It was like a digital diary of our days because in that time we were both on holidays. Okay. Because of another guy that I started to date in real life, I ghosted him for 2 weeks. So I first ignored his question when I would be back at my hometown. I studied 3 hours away from home. Okay, so this is another case of why are you building a pen pal relationship? Okay, you study 3 hours away from home. So what? You're 3 hours away from him? Not good. Okay. After things ended with the other guy, I answered him that there was only 2 weeks left for me at my hometown. He immediately tried to meet me in real life too. Okay. The first date was fabulous, good conversations, many questions from him about me and my life. He paid for everything. We spent 7 hours together. Okay. The only 2 things that made me worry was he answered my question, what is your type? I have to have the feeling that you will be a good mom, okay, and that we accidentally met his ex-girlfriend with her new boyfriend, like while you guys were together. I also found out that they were together for 7 years. I mean, that's not a crime, okay? That definitely means they have history. It's not a crime though. And they were separated for only a year and a half. Okay, so that's something to be worried about, because 7 years of your life put into someone at a year and a half, you may or may not be ready to be in a relationship yet. It may or may not. Could go either way. I know what you're thinking, and I really don't know what I was thinking, that this won't end bad. Okay, so clearly it does. The second date was good as well, 6 to 7 hours again. Wow, a 6 to 7 hour date. I know that you wanted to spend more time with him, but I do advise you to, like, and I see that you're in the chat, Lydia, or Lida, sorry, I think that's how you pronounce your name. How you want to, like, kind of escalate things over time. You don't want it to be a situation where you're, spending the first 2 dates like 4 or 5 hours together. You understand what I'm saying? And you want it to be like, okay, at one point you can have a date that lasts 6 to 7 hours, but that should be well down the road. Like, you want to give him some time to miss you. I know that you're young, so you don't recognize this, but you really want to avoid building relationships with people where everything is hard and fast at the very beginning. Because when things are really hard and fast at the very beginning, you see how I did this? That's what's going to end up happening when things are hard and fast at the very beginning. And then after that, he's going to disappear, right? So you want to kind of ease yourself into it. Even if he is like, oh, I want to see you more, I want to see you more, give him small doses of him so he can continue wanting to see you more. Instead of spending 6 to 7 hours with you, then by the time he finishes spending that 6 to 7 hours with you, he then says to himself, cool, I enjoyed spending time with you, but I kind of don't need to see you for the rest of the week, type of thing. You don't want him to start thinking like that. You want to keep him on the hunt, wanting more of you, okay? But in this time, it was something off. It began with his announcement that he has headaches since 3 weeks ago. So since the time he came back from holidays to Germany, we waited for our food to arrive at the Oriental restaurant. He wanted to go outside and drink his water there. Okay. Outside, he felt a bit dizzy. He said that the dizzy spells weren't something new. Okay. Now, as a med student, I became anxious because I'm the only one who's going to care for him when something bad happens. That's pretty funny. So I stayed by his side and tried to calm him down by saying that the air inside is bad and that this might be the reason. Okay. During eating our food, it happened. Sweat drops over sweat drops along his face, seeping down his neck. He sounds like a Wattpad story. He tried to play it down. Okay, I said, that's it. Stand up. We're going to eat outside. You will explain to me all the details of what's going on right now. Outside, he tried to explain to me that he had a few traumatic experiences, etc. This is getting very strange. He was also in therapy as a kid because of panic attacks and sleepless nights. Why would he be having one right now? I felt bad for him and listened to him. But then he also said that as a consequence of those attacks, he now has a disorder of the need to always feel safe to know what's going on around him. I also shared my traumas, and so we had a trauma bonding. Okay, I know that you did it innocently, but let the guys trauma dump on you. Don't start thinking that this is your cue to trauma dump on them. Okay, just keep it to yourself. Save your trauma dumping for your girlfriends. This is still a stranger. I know it seems like, oh my God, what a nice little fellow. He's having a panic attack and I just want to help him and connect with him. Keep your trauma dumps to yourself, no matter what, no matter how nice he seems at the beginning. Okay, just a word of advice. Then I went back to my study town for 1 week. We didn't call. We just texted every day. Nice. Again, pictures of what we were doing over the day. So are you implying that this is Snapchat? Is that what you're trying to imply, Lida? Because it sounds like you're saying Snapchat without saying Snapchat. I came back on the weekend. He suggested to meet again. He showed me his hometown for a coffee date. Then he also wanted to show me his rich best friend's apartment. Huh? What type of flex is that? It's not his apartment. It's his best friend's. Anyways, who was on holiday? Huh? What? Why does he have the key to his friend's apartment? He has the keys. Why? Being at his best friend's home, it happened again. A situation where my gut literally screamed. There was a joint laying at his best friend's balcony. He took it and put it into a small case in his car. He said, "Don't worry, I don't do it often." Yeah. We went on a walk in the evening. Again, I'm expecting proper spelling and punctuation. In the evening, again, spent 7 hours together. Okay, so once again, this is a lot of time spent together for like just getting to know each other. I know you're trying to maximize each hangout, but it's better for you to cut things short so that he wants to spend more time with you, okay? And he suggested to go to his hometown and watch a movie. He promised that I don't have to stay over or sleep with him. That's, okay, you're young, so I'll let you in. That's what they always say, okay? It's like a gateway drug. He's never going to sell you on the idea, hey, I want you to come over to my house so that I can penetrate myself inside of you for 90 seconds and jackrabbit myself inside of you for 90 seconds. Then I'm going to send you on your way. Obviously, he's not going to be able to sell you on that idea. So, of course, he's going to say it's no pressure, no big deal. If you just come over, we'll watch movies, blankets, something cozy. That's the salesman tactic, okay? He just wanted to spend more time with me because he knows that I'll be back to my study town soon. Okay, so then you go back to your study town after a 2-hour date and let him crave the next time he's going to see you, to the point where he says, I'm going to drive to where you go to school just so I can spend more time with you. Okay, keep those men hungry. I agreed. We just watched a movie, cuddled, then he drove me home safely. Okay, so good so far. With him, it was special because it was the first time I decided to be honest with my feelings during the talking stage, okay? I hate to sound morbid. This is the beginning. And with most people's situation, it's always good in the beginning, okay? I never want to turn you guys into pessimists, but the reality of it is, this is not representative of how the entire relationship is going to be. And if you notice, all the questions we get in here always start with how good things were in the beginning. So you never want to compromise any of the strategies that we discuss in the Players Club simply because things are fun and good in the beginning. So one of the things that we talk about is, pouring your heart out and trauma dumping to a guy that you don't know, and who is a stranger is never a good idea, no matter how good things are going in the beginning. Okay. With the men before him, I always tried to play things cool and be the easy girl that never creates drama. But he always listened to my worries and overthinking and calmed me down on the phone. For example, when I became anxious because we didn't communicate much for 1 to 2 days, so he used to call me to reassure me that he was just busy or something. Okay. I see. Once again, you're young, on the younger side, so it seems logical that the best way to build a relationship is just pure communication. And communication is good in a relationship. However, certain things, when you communicate them to people that you're just in a talking stage or in the beginning stages with, shows them how much power they have. So what I mean by that is this anxious state that you have whenever you guys don't communicate much, because like you've only been on like a handful of dates, less than 5. And so actually, I think it's 3 exactly. And so this, letting him know that you guys not talking for 1 or 2 days is already sending you into a spiral when you guys just started seeing each other. That's giving him, on a subconscious level, way too much power, because you're letting him know now, if he ever does want to bother you or he ever does want to trigger you, all he has to do is not communicate with you for 1 or 2 days and you'll be thrown out of whack. And you might make decisions that you would never regularly make simply because he is triggering your anxiety there. Are you following me? So what I mean by that is, it's just part of the things where at the beginning, it's not necessary information that you need to be giving to someone that you're not sure what they're going to do with that information. Okay. That's what I mean by that. So he used to call me to reassure me. He was the one that was a bit emotionless and colder, as if he couldn't express much emotions, but he somehow never stopped talking to me and always found a way to hear from me. Okay, so it sounds a lot like you're doing most of the talking. Okay, that's not good. Okay, because like I always tell you guys, the person who gathers the most amount of information wins in a relationship. Relationships are like war. Okay, if you don't have the most amount of if you don't have the most amount of information and the other person has a lot more information about you than you have about them, they'll be able to understand how to manipulate you, to be honest with you. I just have to put it straight. I know it sounds horrible, but it's the truth, okay? I am the opposite. I am emotional and always want to make people around me laugh. He liked that, but something I still don't know what stopped him from... What is going on? I still don't know what stopped him from fully committing to fall back during emotional situations and physical contact and to trust me. Another week passed by. Every day we shared something about our day. We FaceTimed not often for 2 hours and then it started. Okay, so I guess you're saying this is when things started going downhill. After planning a date, one day before he drove to the Netherlands with his brother, their dog had a birthday. Okay. He also sent me a pic of their dog at the beach. They were partying and met friends there. On the next day, while getting happily ready for our date, he just canceled. We had a very long night and I don't think that anything is going to work today. I am very sorry. He builds up his own business right now, and every Sunday there is a meeting with his teammates. My anxiety started killing me. I don't know how to react. I felt abandoned. Okay. Things sound like they're going to start going downhill very quickly now. Because when you're saying that you're feeling anxious, this is when the bad behavior starts. I called him. I just wanted to make sure that this talking stage is still craved from both sides. Okay, so this is what I mean. You're giving this guy that you wanted, and I know that you just wanted him, so you're not, it's not a natural, but now you begin to have the mindset that, okay, this has to work with you. And if I feel any sort of sway in your intention, if I feel any sort of sway in your passion or pursuit of me, I'm going to be very thrown out of whack and I'm going to become very anxious and I'm going to start doing crazy things that's actually going to push you away further, which is exactly what it sounds like you're starting to do. Because calling him after, okay, him having things to do in his life that maybe he might have had to cancel is not a crime, okay? Especially when you guys are in the beginning stages and you have no idea what his life really consists of, okay? You're not like a total 100% part of his life, okay? And so I say that to say, calling him and then asking him if this talking stage, he still wants it simply because he canceled one date, you're stepping into like, you're in major anxiety realm now, where literally the smallest little thing will trigger you and send you down a spiral loop, okay? Which is what is exactly has happened here with you, because that's not rational behavior. If he cancels on you, that doesn't immediately mean that he doesn't want to be in any sort of relationship with you. And you actually become very unattractive to guys when you present that side of yourself to them, because they start to feel like, well, if you are really that desirable, you wouldn't be so anxious anytime that I just don't talk to you. Don't you have anything else going on in your life, right? He was surprised because he thought that it wouldn't be a big deal. So this, like I said, this is not good, right? He's not seeing you as someone who is that desperate, right? Where you're feeling like, oh my God, you canceled on me. Do you still want me? Right? It's just not an attractive quality trait. He said, I don't know that spending 1 to 2 hours together is the same as spending 7 to 8 hours like our past dates for you. Okay. See, exactly, guys, I don't read these ahead of time, but exactly like I just said earlier, remember, I said it's way better to spend less time with a guy so that he wants to see you again the next day or the next week than to think to yourself, let me maximize this time I have with you by spending the entire day with you. Because what happens after that is he says, yeah, I spent the entire day with you and it was fun, but maybe I don't need to see you for the next couple of weeks. Rather than spending 1 to 2 hours with him and letting him say, damn, do you really have to go? Damn, can we hang out again? Damn, okay, maybe let's hang out, in a couple of days. I can free myself up. It's way better to keep him on an ongoing basis where he still wants to see more of you than to do these 7-8 hour long dates. That's insanity. I thought, and he's even acknowledging that now it's kind of killed his a desire, right, to continue pursuing. I thought it wouldn't be enough for you. Of course, we can meet then. So he's basically saying we can meet, but it can't be a 7-hour date. Okay. So he's actually letting you know it's too much, like on a per date basis. He needs less of you on smaller doses, which is crazy, but that's what he's really saying. I agreed, but then thinking about my behavior, I didn't want to enforce things, so I canceled and suggest to meet the upcoming weekend. He said, okay, let's have our first sleepover weekend if you want. In that moment, I was happy. Then he tried to organize to meet me that he wants me to stay over the next time. So I said yes. Okay, you're just expressing your emotions, but do you see how now it's becoming like a validation roller coaster where the moment he says that he wants you and wants to spend time with you, you're over the moon, right? And when he doesn't seem like he has time for you or he wants to do something else for himself, you're now down in the dumps. The problem with that is now you're not in control of your emotions or feelings anymore. He's in control of that. So however he feels one day, if he's down one day or he has things to do one day, you're going to be so triggered by that and so offended by that, you're literally not going to be able to focus or do anything else in your life. And if one day he wants to spend time with you, you're going to be over the moon and you're going to actually feel good about yourself. But now, like, someone else is literally in control of how you feel about yourself. That lack of control is going to make you feel like you're going crazy. You understand what I'm saying? And you won't be in a stable mindset. One small thing can trigger you and send you down a spiral loop. Okay. The sleepover date started very strange. My gut was yelling at me to be honest about something. The no texting before the date, the no questions about the time, no plannings. I explained openly that my days here at my hometown are limited and I have to plan exactly my daily routine here. I don't have time to wait for his message when it's going to happen every time. He said, okay, I'll change that. We drank wine, watched a movie again, and cuddled. He didn't try anything. Laying in his bed, we had deep talks again. Suddenly, he asked, can I ask you something? But you don't have to answer if it's too private. Is there a possibility that you haven't had pineapples before? Interesting. I answered yes. He said he's known it since day one. WTF. Maybe it's because I was very cautious and he recognized. He's probably just used to, no offense, but he's used to girls being easier. So he's kind of confused why you're not being so easy. Anyways, I explained the story of the other guy that really just made me feel bad about being a V. He cuddled me and said, no, it's okay. Don't feel bad. Whenever you feel ready for it, just let me know. Tommy, I cried. I really just cried quietly because I felt accepted for who I am from him. We made out, I'm sorry to say, but no pineapples. And then, okay, you say no pineapples and then, so it's not making me feel good. All right. It's 3 a.m. I woke up with a strange feeling. Okay. Now you're getting me nervous now. I tried to feel him next to me, but he wasn't there. I thought are we not in his bed at his place? What's going on? The guy wasn't in the bed. I could hear my heart pounding. What's happening here? When I went to his living room, he was laying there awake on his phone. He said, oh, did I wake you up? You're getting me real nervous now. What's going on? I'm so sorry, but my stomach hurts and cramps, so I wanted to be near the toilet. It's nothing special. Next day, I made him tea and let him sleep at his bed while doing uni stuff. He slept for 4 hours. He woke up, cuddled me from behind, and thanked me because he felt better. He drove me home and said that I could come next week from Monday to Wednesday, but he said, you told him that. You said that you could come next week from Monday to Wednesday, but he just said, cool. While holding my hands, we texted that day. So he's basically saying, yeah, just hold on, girl. I'm not sure if I want to spend that much time with you. Then I didn't hear from him for 2 days. My anxiety again made me feel very sick. I thought, no, please not you as well. After texting him, if he was feeling better, he answered later than usual. 1 to 2 days later again, I shared my feelings honestly, and he tried to text me more that week. My motivation decreased, the tension decreased, and I felt tired of being anxious. Don't worry, now the end comes. So on a random Saturday, I called him to have a small talk. They usually never end up small. First, he didn't pick up, but immediately texted me, I will call you back now. This was the worst call with a man in my whole life. All right, chat, buckle up for this call. Both tried to have small talk, but my anxiety didn't decrease hearing that from him. Now it gets worse after asking him, should I come home this weekend or on the this week or on the weekend? He answered, for me? I said, not only for you, but maybe we could get together again. He said, sure, of course. So what has just happened, if you're unaware, and if the chat is unaware, you have just become the man. Congratulations, Lida. You just became a man. You made a whole transformation here. You just asked him out on a date. You're the man now, because that was not him planning anything. That was not him doing anything. In fact, you asked him if he wanted to see you, and you basically set it up, the date and the time, and he said, sure. Congratulations. You have a princess on your hands. Let's see how this goes. But he has to party on Tuesday first. Wow. So yeah, I'll give you some of my time, but first let me party and have some real fun before I come see you. Nice. And on Wednesday, he will be too exhausted from the party. So the only opportunity would be the end of the week. So basically, when I'm not doing anything that I want to do and I have some leftover time in my schedule, then I will go and see you. That's what he's basically saying. Again, waiting 2 weeks to meet him. No. I texted that I forgot about something, so he called me right after. Okay, first of all, I'm very thankful that I can call you no matter what time and what issues I have. I like you, but the conversation we had a few minutes ago made me feel very insecure about where this is going. I feel like you said, I feel like you are not that excited to meet me like in the beginning, and if this is true, you can be honest with me. Okay, Lida, I know that you're young, and I know that when we're all young, we make mistakes. We think that everything is going to be like a teen drama. In a perfect utopia world, when you ask people exactly how they feel about you and to be honest with you, they'll just be honest with you. The reality of the world that we live in is whenever you ask someone, how do you feel about me now? I feel like you don't like me as much. You can just be honest with me. They will never be honest with you. Okay? Never. So your actual best bet is, rather than thinking you're going to extract that truth from them by asking him that question, your best bet is to look at how he's been treating you and how it's different and how you feel different, and realize that that is the answer to your question. So you don't need to ask him if he is not as interested in you or not taking this seriously, because you actually know the answer based on his actions. Okay, I know that when you're young, you're thinking, okay, maybe let me confirm it by asking you and hearing it from you, because that's how I know it's the truth. You have to recognize that the truth exists in between words and in between what people will say out of their mouth. The truth exists in actions, body language, all the stuff that isn't up in your face, okay? The last thing you're going to hear from someone is for them to come openly out of their mouth and tell you exactly what they're thinking or feeling. It just doesn't really happen, okay? You have to get good at reading in between the lines and how people really feel by how they treat you and approach the relationship, okay? So he said, well, Lydia, I like you too. Okay, this is going to be a misdirection, I can assure you. To be honest, I didn't prepare myself to answer to you your worries now. How can I explain? He's thinking about how to misdirect you. You're just going to end up confused after he tells you this. I'm going to assure you. I don't know if it's because of the things that happened with my ex-girlfriend, but maybe you already recognized it. I feel like I am not allowed to express and let in my feelings. I block them away every time they come up. You are such a beautiful, nice, emotional, and caring person. I feel like being an emotional ice cube or robot next to you. Okay, so one of the things that I want you to identify here, Lida, is building a relationship with a guy. You need to be hyper fixated on extracting information out of him, about how he feels, about what he wants, about what he thinks. Because I think one of the grave mistakes that you made in this situation is, as you became more comfortable and you became specifically more comfortable spilling your guts and just letting out all the things that you were feeling, you began treating him like a girlfriend, where you just wanted to trauma dump, tell him everything that you're feeling, everything that's on your mind. So you became even more invested in the relationship because this was like your trauma dump person, right? But the problem is, when a guy that you just started talking to becomes your trauma dump person, you actually, this is the crazy thing, you forget that in the process of you trauma dumping, he's not actually sharing any real information with you. He's just saying, yeah, yeah, I agree. Oh, that's crazy. Oh my God. Oh, tell me more, right? And you get so comfortable in the cycle of trauma dumping and sharing all the information about yourself and your thoughts that you're thinking that this relationship is building really heavily and you guys are getting so close together, when in reality, you're not building from his own perspective. He doesn't feel any closer to you. You feel closer to him because you're trauma dumping on him and talking about yourself. He doesn't feel closer to you though. And see, what ends up happening is you kind of turn your relationship into a thing where you're so much more invested in him than he is in you because he doesn't feel the same connection to you that you feel to him. On top of that, you don't have a lot of information about him or what he thinks or what he wants. You think that you have a lot of information about him because you share with him. So your mind tricks you and plays this narrative in your mind that, oh my God, we're so close together, not realizing he doesn't feel close to you because he hasn't shared anything with you, because he doesn't talk about anything with you. You actually do all the talking. He just agrees with you or chit-chats with you about yourself. It's a very interesting trick. Some people are doing it not on purpose, and some people are actually doing it purposely. I know for myself, I used to do it purposely to avoid sharing information about myself so I can spend all of that time learning more about the other person. Because like I always tell you, the person with the most information wins. You get that other person the most invested in you, and you also learn a lot about them that you can use to your advantage. I know it sounds horrible, but it's the truth. Okay, so you made the mistake of giving him all the information and forgetting that there has to be a period where he shares as well, because you became comfortable in just trauma dumping and sharing about yourself. It makes me sad, you say. Getting to know you feels so good, but in the same time, I'm asking myself why the feelings don't come up. This is what he's saying to you. You are exactly the type of person I would want to spend my future with, a doctor, a caring person, but something in me just holds me back. So you can only imagine right now, he's actually sharing with you all the things that he's been thinking since the beginning of the relationship. You feel shocked and blindsided because you're like, where did any of this come from? The reality of it is that all of these thoughts were inside him the entire relationship. He just didn't share those with you because you were so busy and focused on, oh, I'm going to talk about me and my experiences and my life. Not thinking about, okay, let me extract a lot of good information about you and not worry about talking about me. I'm not saying that to say, Lyda, you're a bad person, but it's an easy mistake that we all make, thinking that, oh, we're closer with each other because I'm sharing about myself, when in reality, that doesn't make that other person feel closer to us. I couldn't answer. Silence. He suggested to give us 1 to 2 days to think about what we are going to do. I said, well, you know what? Thank you for your honesty, but I don't think I'm supposed to think about this. I know what I want to do. This seems to be something you have to work on and go through. I thank you for our time, but don't enforce people to stay in my life. So if you decide to leave, it would be totally fine. Okay, again, a horrible way to present that. You don't want to present to people, hey, I want you, but if you don't want me and you decide to walk away from me, I'll just be here sad and, you can walk away. You have to make the decision for yourself and say, if you're not in a position to date me or you're not 100% invested in me, I'm not going to wait around for you. I'm walking away from this myself. Okay. If you decide to come back one day, so again, horrible way to present that. And I'm still available at that time, we can try again, maybe. Again, horrible way to present that, as if what, you're gonna watch paint dry until he's ready. Don't make it seem like that. Now that's literally how you take away a sense of urgency from a man. Now I arrived at my university, so I have to hang up. Have a good day. 5 days later, he sent me a huge text where he literally said the same thing as on the phone. He just added that this might distract him from his business plans and he doesn't have the capacity. So basically, no, it's a no. Like he's not ready to be in a relationship with you. And you know what, Tomisin? I study medicine and managed to drive home 4 hours every weekend to meet him, just to hear now that I would distract him. I felt shattered. I didn't respond to his text where he also suggests to meet again to talk about everything and that there will be another better time for us to start over again, maybe. Unnecessary to meet again. He's already made it clear to you how he feels. What's the purpose to continue stringing this along? And especially, I didn't even realize that. And you mentioned that, and I'm glad you mentioned that. You're the one driving 4 hours to see him every time you go see him. He has a whole job and a whole business. You're telling me he don't have enough money to drive to come see you? I get that that's your hometown you're going back to, but there's no reason why in the span of you guys talking together, he couldn't have drove to see you. Just part of the things that you have to give guys the space to show you if they're truly interested in you and invested in you, or if you've been doing the work for him. A lot of times you end up doing the work for women. You guys end up doing the work for him and not realizing that he doesn't really have that much interest in you. Okay. Suggested to meet again and talk about everything. Yeah, that's pointless. 1 to 2 months later, I removed him from my social media. That's it. Why do you waste 2 months of your life trying to keep the contact over distance when you have the opportunity to date someone in your hometown for casual hookups? Why didn't you stop dating me when you recognized that you aren't able to reciprocate things? Of course, I mean, the simple answer is he wanted access to your Squirtle. And probably when he realized you're a virgin, that was part of the thing that became disappointing to him, is that he realized that this whole idea of keeping you around just to kind of mess around with you and waste some time was a little bit pointless because he wasn't going to extract, pineapples from you. So that's probably what a little bit of that disappointment was, where you felt that little weird change of energy at that time, because he realized that using you as kind of like a rebound, a transition period with someone he can just have fun with until he's ready to date again, it wasn't going to be like that because you were only here to date. So he's kind of like, damn, I'm not going to get anything from a virgin, so this is kind of pointless, right? That's probably what happened in his mind. Did I do something wrong? No, but your mistake was trauma dumping and making the whole relationship about you, and not getting information from him about him. What was his intention? It still hurts, Tomisin, because I still don't understand what happened and why it happened. My biggest problem is I wasn't sure if I was exaggerating again, being an anxious girly, or my worries were justified. So I'll say to you, the biggest and most vital mistake that you made in this situation here is making this relationship too much about yourself. And I don't mean it like from a selfish standpoint where you're just like, it's about me, it's me, 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 me. I mean from the perspective of coming into the relationship and saying to yourself, okay, I need to get answers on where you're at mentally, where you're at emotionally, what you even want, what you desire, what you're looking for, how your this is why I always talk to you guys about bringing up the previous relationship and digging. You need to dig so deep into the previous relationship, especially the most recent one. Never, ever. Okay. I want you guys to really see me for this. Never, ever, ever avoid talking about the most recent relationship. It will give you a lot of context about who he is, how he feels, what he thinks, if he's even emotionally available or not. Okay? I know some of you in your mind are thinking to yourself, I don't want to spend this time talking about another girl. I don't want to imagine in my mind that he was sleeping with another girl or in love with another girl. It doesn't make me feel good. Damn, what makes you feel good? What will actually benefit you is having that information so you know what transpired in his last relationship, why it ended, and where it stands now. Because majority of you only end up being confused because down the line, you're like, wait, well, you still have love for your ex? Why didn't you tell me? You were supposed to extract that information. Oh, wait, you still have you're not really ready to date and you're not in the headspace to build another relationship? Why didn't you let me know that? You were supposed to extract that information. Like I say, when you're on the younger side and you're newer to this, you think that, life is a utopia and everyone in your life is going to come to you and share with you openly all the information about themselves and tell you exactly what they feel and what their intentions are. In the real world, and when you become an adult and as you join the Players Club, you'll realize that's not how the world works. And in order for you to get the truth out of people, you have to do the job of strategically extracting that information from them. So as soon as you hop into your new talking stage or your new dating stage, the very first thing you must be thinking about is extracting all of the relevant information that will be keys to letting you know if this person is in a headspace to even be dating, if this person is still in love with their most recent ex, if this person still has unfinished business in their past relationship, right? It'll also clue you into patterns that they have faced in their relationships that could be presenting themselves in their relationship with you. Okay. The reason I wanted to address that is because I want all of you to recognize that and why that's a problem. Don't go into your talking stages or these initial dating cycles thinking to yourself, this is about me and my pleasure and my ability to feel good about myself by being validated and having you compliment me and telling me how much you want to be with me. Do not waste your time and hurt yourself in the long run by thinking that avoiding talking about his previous relationship will make it so that it just doesn't exist. Because a lot of you will end up shocked in the future when you're like, wait, this whole time you weren't ready to be in a relationship? Why didn't you tell me? Wait, this whole time you literally were still in love with your ex? Why didn't you tell me? Wait, this whole time you weren't even feeling me because you are not even in a place to love anyone new? Why didn't you tell me? I don't want you to be in that position. But the only way you avoid being in that position, and this also applies to you, Lida, that the only way you avoid being in that position is by clarifying and extracting that information from him at the very beginning and throughout the entire relationship. This isn't about you sharing you. Don't trauma dump on him, trauma dump on your girlfriends. Extract information from him so you can better understand his mindset and what he's looking for and how he's approaching this relationship. Okay. Our RBN says, how can you do this without it sounding like an interview? I actually have a show and a couple shows on how to ask good questions, but also how to enchant a man. Because what you're trying to do is you're trying to ask him these questions while enchanting him and making him feel like you're so curious, not because you want to know these deepest, darkest secrets and get this information for your notebook, but because you find him so fascinating. So I'll give you the short answer to that. You go to him and you go out on these dates, you need to bring the type of energy and mindset that the reason I'm asking you so many questions is because, oh my God, you're so fascinating. Your job, I've never met anyone that's had a job like that. Can you tell me about how do you balance relationships with such a busy job? You're building a business? Oh my God, I can only imagine what it's like and how much effort it takes to build a business. Can you explain to me what was it like building a business, but also being in your last relationship? Oh my God. And even when he's telling you, to be honest with you, we never were really able to speak and I neglected a lot of our parts of our relationship. You don't react negatively. You say, oh, wow. That's fascinating. So how do you think that kind of affected you and your mind? You don't judge. You just make it seem like, wow, every piece of information you're giving me is fascinating. What ends up happening is he starts to feel positive emotions because when he's telling you about his life, you're not judging him, but you also seem more interested in knowing more about him. So what does it make him do? It makes him share more with you. Right? And the more he shares of you, the more information you have. You just don't need to use your body language and your facial expressions and your energy to show him that the information you're getting might be negative or positive. You give him a neutral response and you always show interest in the more he shares information to you. Right? You make it seem as if I find you so fascinating, regardless of what the information is. I love hearing you talk about you. Okay? That's the best way to get people talking, where they forget that they're spilling their guts and they get so comfortable sharing everything about their lives with you that they don't realize they've given you all the keys, all of the keys. Does that make sense? Right? It's someone says the mere fact that I am listening to you right now is turning him very nice as a sudden. Okay. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. Right. Says the more he feels comfortable, the more he will share with you. never share anything about you. It's true. It's true. And the thing about it is you're thinking in your mind, oh my God, but he's going to realize that I'm not sharing anything about myself while we're having this conversation, right? And this applies to Lydia, but this also applies to Elida, but also applies to all of you, right? You're going to be thinking that, hey, the guys are going to realize that, hey, I'm not sharing, and they're going to get suspicious, and they're going to start asking me questions. The truth of the matter is, when you're doing this correctly, people never realize. They never realize. And the reason they never realize is because trust me, no, there is nothing more that people and human beings love than talking about themselves. There is nothing that human beings find more fascinating or more interesting than talking and sharing about themselves. When you get someone, why do you think we pay so much damn money for therapists? Because where else on this earth do you get to just sit down on a couch and make the entire 3-hour conversation just about me and what I want and what I think? We don't focus on you. We don't focus on your life. We don't focus on anything you care about or that's important to you. This is all about me. We actually value that service of being able to make a situation all about me so much that we pay for it. We don't pay people for a conversation where you share with you about yourself to me. We pay for a conversation where I can talk to you about everything I feel and I think, and you help me talk more about me and figure out me. So think about how valuable you become and how interesting you become to other people when you can be that for them, right? But it also benefits you because think about how much information you can extract from them when they're in that state. It's like putting people in a trance. Are you following me? Right? So very important. Right? The same way I gave this advice to Lyda is the same type of advice I want you to all heed to. Do not make your relationships and talking stages about sharing and trauma dumping on this man. You will only put yourself in a situation where going down the line, you're confused on why he feels this way. When the reality of it is he's always felt this way. He's just never communicated that to you until now. Okay, so I think that was the biggest mistake for you, Lyda, if you're still listening here. And the thing that you need to adjust is that for the future. But I think other than that, there's everything else is outside of your control in terms of him not being ready to date and all that good stuff. It's just now that you know that, at least you have a clear answer. And the rest of your life should be focused on moving forward and paying attention to yourself and not paying attention to him and what's going on to him until he comes to you ready and saying that he's actually ready to emotionally date and stuff like that again. Then you can say, okay, I'm not driving to you though. I'm not driving no 4 hours to see you, so you can come see me if you're really that serious. But if he never does that, then he was never that serious about it. Okay. Next here we have someone who just sent in one. Oh, sorry. It was Brown Sugar. Brown Sugar said that you didn't finish your complete your story here. Okay. So I guess there's more to your story. Okay. Okay. Wow. Thanks for all you're doing. So this is the more to your story. Fast forward the thing. Now after, okay. So this is after the first half, right? Because you said you stopped. Okay, I was a supervisor at a well-known communication company. He was an agent. He, excluding a 6-month engagement to that man, he spoiled me and my kids. My fiance's name. Wait, what? I had been single for 5 years prior, excluding a 6-month engagement to a man that spoiled me and my kids. My fiance's name was Henry, and he proposed to me after a month of dating. No pineapples. Okay. He was also very financially intelligent. We broke up and he tried to rekindle. I didn't because of the level of hurt with our breakup. I stopped all pineapple contact within the 5 years. Due to a treacherous relationship with the narcissist prior to the engagement, my children's father, I had seen the agent around the office and he always complimented me. Him and his friend would give me so much respect, going out of their way to see if I needed any help in the office. Okay. Fast forward, me and Jerry, the agent, had been boyfriend and girlfriend for 2.5 years now. He was so nice and kissed the ground that I walk on in the beginning, like we always say, in the beginning. So I decided to give him a chance. Even though he wasn't exactly my type physically, he isn't ugly, and I still do have a strong attraction to him. To be straightforward, I just had better looking guys hitting on me according to society standards. Well, don't say that. According to society standards or according to your standards, okay? Just be honest. You know, very tall, athletic, dark, and handsome, described my exes. However, I'm a believer that I'm a believer in not being superficial and figured that I'll give him a chance. He was my height, 5'9", maybe an inch taller. Now, now his friend, who gets more women's attention, pursued me at first, but I declined his advances because he seemed like a player. On top of that, Jerry's sense of humor had me consistently laughing. Okay, so I just want to address something that I always like to make you guys aware of. I don't ever advise you guys to be dating people in the workplace. Okay, it just never ends well. Okay, I get that you guys are meeting the most people in the workplace, but it usually just ends up in a very awkward situation dating someone in the workplace. But let's go on. You said to call you Alicia, so I'll call you Alicia. All right. Now, after I gave Jerry a chance, we went on a few dates and he was late, but I don't know if that was a test because he was late to work also. So like how he does his life is how he'll do your relationship. After a month, he asked me to be his girl. 2 weeks prior, he said he didn't. He said he wanted to date exclusive, and I asked, do you mean boyfriend and girlfriend? He said no, because he just got out of a relationship. Furthermore, he is working on himself. I agreed it was okay, but expressed that I felt that's disrespectful. Okay? Most guys I meet are asking to be in a relationship with me. I believe this was an ego trip on my part, along with my emotions on why he started to start something with me in the first place. Okay. I continued to date him since my feelings were already growing for him. I think he's seen so many guys pursue me when we went on dates that it pushed him to make it official. After a month, on New Year's, he took me out and asked me to be his girlfriend. In the beginning, he would treat me to my nails sometimes and dates. Even though I made more money than him, I really appreciated that I was committed to be his supporter and help him grow. I had a nice condo, a nice car, and 2 wonderful children. My money was spent on my obligations. Later, I noticed my performance at work dwindled. Jerry wanted to be with me every day. We would sit and talk until dawn, then be late for work. Okay, so this is very not good. We both eventually got fired. Wow. Okay? This is very not good. I look back in disbelief on my lack of setting more boundaries with my time. That is very true. Because why on earth are you literally missing work or late to work because you're hanging out with him like you're a teenager? Okay, that's what teenagers do. They skip class and they make out in the bathroom or in the parking lot, and they miss class and they get bad grades. You're an adult. Okay, so this is part of the thing where part of the reason that we have this show is because I want you guys to get out of this Disney princess mind frame and fantasy where you think that the love of your life is meant to be like a teen drama. Okay? And it's not to make you not believe in love, but I just want you to be a little bit more grounded in how you build relationships. Because when you live in this crazy fantasy, you'll do things that actually hurt you and hurt your life and are detrimental to you simply because you want this to be like a fantasy book. And it's not. That's not a representation of real life. And so I say that to say missing work to hang out with a guy who is still a stranger and hasn't even proven himself to actually want to build anything with you for real, is a mistake. Losing your job because of a guy who you could stop talking to tomorrow is a grave mistake. But it's a fantasy that we all want to live in because we think in our mind, oh my God, our attraction is so strong and our connection is so deep that in the process of our connection, we can't even be bothered to be at work. We're just going to hold hands and run away together because our love is so deep that we would literally hop in a car and drive to absolutely nowhere and be together for the rest of our lives. Okay? It sounds good in a movie and in a Disney princess story, but that is not how people actually work. And you're not going to see results that way. Okay? Right? So does that make sense? I guess being single so long had really gotten to me. I found another job immediately. Then got a referral for Jerry. So Jerry helped to get you fired from your old job. You went ahead and got a new job and then brought Jerry along so that he can get you fired from the next job too. You're making me mad now, Alicia. He got hired as an entry-level agent. I quickly became promoted to manager. I decided to go back to school because my skills in sales should have a degree in, because of my skills in sales, I should have a degree in business. I encouraged Jerry to go back to school too. Okay. Alicia, are you trying to get Jerry to do everything with you? He is not your pet. He is not your twin. Okay. He is a whole other human being. I don't know why you're building this obsession with bringing him along with you everywhere that you go. It's wrong. Okay. You're supposed to be an individual and you're supposed to have different paths as adults. Okay. I'm an early retired nurse due to the hate of being around sick environments. We both were in school, but he stopped after one semester. I stayed in school. Eventually, I couldn't work hours as long as usual. I needed more help from him on small things. I cooked for him daily, fine organic meals. This is making me mad. So he'll stop his usual unhealthy routines like Burger King and McDonald's. I also had a gym membership and invited him to join me free of charge. Someone said, Bob the Builder, you're damn right. You're damn right. Couldn't have said it better myself. Alicia, you are being Bob the Builder. I get that you're improving yourself and you're trying to do the best you can. And I also understand that for people that you care about, you want the best for them. But you can't want that for him. And you're literally bending over backwards and forwards to try to make him a better man. But you should just be with a better man, not be with a worse man and try and improve him. This ain't build a man. He'll come over for dinner almost every night. What is he doing for you? What is he doing for you? I enjoyed cooking for people and my children. Okay, what is he doing for you? I don't want you to only think selfishly, but like I also don't want you to overextend yourself for someone who hasn't even shown you commitment is free. I haven't heard you say that okay, like now he actually wants us to be, okay, sorry, you said he asked you to be his girlfriend, but you guys are also adults. So what other than commitment, what else is he showing you? How is he showing his commitment to you? I just needed him to pitch in more on groceries. I mean, you're cooking for him damn near every night. It would grind my gears when he'll stay at my house all day, but wouldn't voluntarily take the trash out. See, this is part of the problem. Okay. This is part of the issue when you overextend yourself, thinking that this man is going to like you more when you're literally doing everything you possibly can. And I also get that this is your boyfriend, but I also think we can all acknowledge that you guys kind of hopped into this pretty quickly and there wasn't a proper vetting process yet. I know better now after watching your videos that complaining wasn't the answer. It's not. I think you would just need to withdraw what you do for him, honestly. After a while, he stopped taking me on dates. He gets lazy, gets complacent. He complained he didn't have the money. I told him it was fine. I helped him find other jobs. So not only are you feeding him, cooking him organic meals, but he's also simultaneously telling you, while I am your man, I can't take you out on dates because I have no money. So rather than saying, cool, I'm going to go be with the guy who has money, you say to yourself, I'm going to help you get a job while I cook for you, while I spend more of my money on you, while I buy all the groceries, while you sleep in my bed, while you don't help around the house. Now I have more responsibilities. And oh yeah, I thought I had 3 children before, but now I realize I have 4 children. So now I have more bills. But instead of you finding a job, I'll do actually more work by going ahead and looking for a job for you so that you can start working again. Even just explaining it in itself is exhausting. So you can only imagine how exhausting it is to actually do it. Why are you overextending yourself for someone who is literally doing nothing for you? That was a good pay that were good paying temp jobs. He eventually told me a family member mentioned he wouldn't even. Okay, so this is the part that you shared with us before. So you guys kind of know this part. And I'll change a woman. Sorry, let me just make sure we didn't miss parts. He wouldn't even do those jobs for the bills, but he has done it for me. I understand in the Discord that a man will change for a woman he loves. It seems that his ambition started to change after that. Not much change concerning our outings later on in the relationship. He said he'll work more on our outings and take me out on dates more. When he did it, it would be so unorganized. Okay, so you didn't mention this last time. He would say things like such as going on such and such dates, but give me the time and the place same day. Okay, so that's not a good sign. Telling me last minute we're going such place such and such. And I asked him several times throughout the week what time and what place. His response would always be, I'll let you know. Then when I'm late, he'll get irritated. So this is horrible. I would get irritated back, of course, which led to our whole date being ruined. That happened majority of our dates, to the point where I would even push him to take me. I wouldn't even push him to take me out on dates anymore. By the way, he only initiated dates a few times during the course of the relationship. Usually it was more like an outing with his friends and their girlfriends. It came to the point where we always were in the house eating while watching Netflix. The Netflix was my account, is what you said before. Not much activity going on outside of my schedule. Then my daughter passed away in a car accident at the end of 2022. Wow, so sorry. So sorry to hear that. I went through nightmares and utter sadness. Jerry was there for me emotionally. This caused a deeper bond right before I was planning to leave the relationship. That's actually why I kind of took a pause, because I know now that you experienced that with him, it's going to be that much harder for you to walk away. I stayed because I figured he cared for me and he wanted to try more. It's an assumption. He was late to the funeral trying to buy a nice suit last minute. So it seems like, okay, we'll call your man last minute man, because it seems like everything he does in his life is last minute. Nothing is planned, nothing is scheduled, and nothing is organized. So chat, let's all call him last minute man, right? Moreover, rewind, I had to take plan B a few times because of his slip ups. So same thing, like he does life, he does relationships. He pulled out last minute. Chat, let's all say together, last minute man, because that is exactly who Alicia is dating. He pulls out last minute. He gets to the funeral last minute. He sets and organized dates last minute. He is last minute man. Our first time having pineapples, we did several times in one sitting. He used all the condoms. Nice flex. And I allowed him to do it without one once. Then what was the purpose of ever using condoms in the first place? Let's go on. This is not sex ed. Before having pineapples, I made sure he got tested and showed me the results. Jerry released inside me. What you meant to say is last minute man released inside me. Congratulations. You've been you're about to be fertilized by last minute man. Congrats. Then he couldn't help it. I was upset, but didn't want our first time to end with a fight. I told him to be ready for his first baby because I don't believe in abortion. Chat, what do you think last minute man's going to do in his response to this? He replied, that's fine. He'll take care of his responsibilities. Inside, I didn't think he was ready, and I wanted to go with my fitness and career. I mentioned to him that we need to get plan B. I stressed the fact that he needed to be careful next time. Taking plan Bs aren't ideal, but after taking it, I felt relieved. 9 months into the relationship, we had discussed marriage. A year and a half into the relationship, I seriously mentioned it. Sorry. No. You discussed marriage. Don't say we when you brought it up. Okay? Because saying that you seriously mentioned it does not sound like a we thing. He said he needs to work on our relationship more. Guys, I told you I don't read this ahead of times, but I'm not an idiot. When you say things like I seriously mentioned it, I know. You're saying we, but you meant I seriously discussed marriage, not we. Okay? He said we need to work on our relationship more. I agreed because the arguments were more frequent. I felt he would put his teenage girl cousin as a priority over me and would take her out to the movies. Please don't let this get weird. For the sake of my sanity, please don't let this get weird, because what you just said sounds weird, and I don't want this to get any weirder. Okay? When you start saying teenage cousin, take her to the movies, it's getting strange. It's getting weird. This first became an issue. Oh, okay. So this is going to continue getting weird. I thought that was just going to be a side note. Okay, let me emotionally prepare myself. I haven't read this. 8 months into our relationship, this first became an issue. Even though I had expressed we don't go out on dates enough. So essentially, he's taking out his teenage cousin and not taking you out. I'm concerned now. I gave him leeway about the frequency of our dates, mainly because he didn't have a lot of money. Pretty strange that he doesn't have money except for when he's taking his teenage cousin out. I asked him to just have dates at least once a month. He told me I should take him on dates also sometimes. Last minute man is now princess man. I said I'm going to work on that. That's what your response was. Wow. You told him that you're going to work on taking him out on dates. Nice. But he needs to be consistent on his part. He started saving for a ring in the middle of 2022. Are you sure? He's last minute man, so I'm surprised he doesn't just buy one from the dollar store the day you're gonna get married. I ended up in a financial issue, and he gave me $399 he saved towards a ring. I don't want to diss anyone's financial situation, but I'm pretty sure that there are promise rings that cost more than $399. He's been saving up for this ring since 2022, the middle of 2022, and he's only saved $399. I don't want to make fun of anyone. I don't want to laugh in anyone's face, and I don't want to embarrass or shame anyone. But I just feel like if he really wanted to save his money, I think that he could have saved more than $399 in 2 years. That's just my belief, and I don't want to get too upset. I don't want to shame him. I just feel like it's possible for him to have saved more than that. Let's go on. That was a year in and a half ago from now. He hasn't saved anything towards it again since. He also helped me with hospitality expenses when family came into town for the funeral. I believe he gave me about $300. I broke up with him twice during the course of our relationship. Once a week before Valentine's Day, and I had thrown hints of what I wanted, which was only flowers sent to my job. He told me that I need to be understanding that he won't be able to get me a gift. The first year of dating, 5 months in, he got me balloons, flowers, and a huge teddy bear. I felt so good, admired, and cherished and loved. The next Valentine's Day, he claimed he shouldn't have to do anything because he did it the year prior. I felt that was a slap in the face because I was much more invested and deserved more. I threw a huge B-Day party with his family and friends that past summer. I paid all the expenses for it. I wanted to see him, and I wanted him to see that I appreciate him, and I don't mind spending on him also. Alicia, you're a sugar mama. You just don't realize it yet. Months later, I started to withdraw again. My mistake for going to bars or lounges to escape the stress of our relationship and my daughter's passing away. Looking back, group therapy or a new hobby would have made me happier. I noticed him withdrawing from me. He would play video games online for hours. Remember when I said that he could have probably saved more than $3.99? Imagine what he could have done with his time if he was spending it getting... Okay. Sorry, I'm just going to go on a bit of a rant here, okay, because this really bothers me. So just bear with me, okay? Guys, bear with me. I'm just going to go on a little bit, just a tiny bit of a rant. I will never, ever be able to understand how broke men with no financial situation that are in debt and don't have a job and don't have money to do anything. I cannot fathom how they can sit down in front of a video game and start playing video games knowing that they have so much left to work on. If you ever find yourself with that type of man that literally has financial issues that need to be addressed and solved, and he actually, to me, you have to be a psychopath. And he actually has the ability to stay sane and play video games that are making him $0 and 0 cents while he actively has financial situations that need to be addressed. Please, I advise you, please run as fast. You better be Sha'Carri Richardson. I want you to run as fast as you possibly can away from that type of man. Please run as fast as you can. This is not meant to diss all men, but I cannot stand. I cannot even put myself in the mind frame how you can be in debt financially or not, just in a really bad financial situation. You need a better job. You need a better career. How can you possibly even feel good enough to sit down in front of a video game that is wasting your life away? If you're rich and you have nothing to worry about, perfectly fine, right? I don't play video games, but whatever. But if you're able to actually put that aside and sit down, please, if you have that type of man or you're talking to that type of man, run very, very fast, very, very far away. Okay? I had to rant about that because this type of stuff pees me off. He has a whole situation that he needs to address. He should be on Indeed and LinkedIn all day. And he's playing video games instead of looking for I need to skip this. I need to go on because I'll just get too upset. Talking to guys, laughing, joking while I was watching videos on my phone, especially because we had to move in together after my daughter passed away. My skin's just itching. I can't stand this anymore. The place we lived in brought me so much sadness. I moved in with him while looking for a place. I withdrew also going to work events. Okay, so you kind of put yourself in a really weird situation because in the process of you trying to withdraw, you're now living with him. So this is making it way harder to withdraw. I also just got a new promotion. He barely congratulated me on the elevation. Why would he? Think about it. The better you do in your life, the worse it makes him feel about himself. And a lot of these guys that are obsessed with video games when they have issues are using it for escapism. So rather than addressing their issues, they just play more video games. The problem is when they have to face real life, especially if their woman is elevating in life while they're stagnating or getting worse, it's only going to make him feel more emasculated and worse about himself. You're not doing that. He's actually doing that to himself. But when he's emasculated like that, he's going to treat you like trash. Okay. I noticed he made a small effort to get my attention back, gave me a really good massage and watched my favorite series with me. So He gave you a really good massage for free, and he watched your favorite series with you on the Netflix that you pay for. Congratulations. Then he'll be back into diving into his video games. Sorry, I just wanted to see here, how old is this guy? Because you kind of mentioned the ages that you guys are around somewhere here. I know that you guys are adults, okay? And that is concerning to me. I felt we were not moving forward. You're not. You're stagnating. We haven't even been on a trip together. I've asked him to save, and I would also, a year into the relationship. He seemed not interested in a trip. He seems to be so in love with his video games. My mistake looking back was the lack of working on my own hobbies. On my free time was all about him. Unless I was with my children, I realize now that could have diminished my value to him. Yes, but also you're not okay. Your first mistake was not even was investing yourself in the wrong type of man, a man with no direction. That's actually the very first mistake that you made. Once you invest yourself into a man with no direction, everything goes downhill and nothing's going to work how it's supposed to work. I found a nice condo for myself. I happily moved out of his place with family. I was sort of hurt by the lack of consistency and lack of effort. I just haven't called him since being in my place. Important to know, he stopped going to church with me. Seems to not want to do anything but stay in the house. I got fed up with asking him to find a better job, save money, and take me out on dates and gifts because just because, and more intimate time, to the point where I moved out. I didn't call him. It's been a week now. I stumbled across your videos the fourth day of completely withdrawing. He texted me that night and to come take me to and I left asking to come take the last box upstairs for me. I told him tomorrow. I just never called that day. The second day, he sent me a reminder saying, don't forget to pay my insurance bill. Wow. Then later he texted me to stay safe. There is a storm. I didn't reply to that message. On the third day, I contemplated how to handle things. Should I communicate? We need a break. I just turned 28. Wow, I was thinking you're much older. I just turned 28 and didn't start dating until college, 19 years old. And I feel sometimes behind on dating. Anyways, I followed him on Instagram because I noticed I had stopped following. So I'll give you guys a news flash. For those of you who didn't know, there's actually a new feature on Instagram where you can actually remove someone as a follower. So with the same way you block someone, right? There's options there where you can actually click and not just unfollow them, but you can also make them not be following you anymore. So that wasn't an accident. That actually was him purposely removing you as a follower. Okay. And I never followed him back from a prior argument. Okay, so it was you that did that, actually. I just wanted to make you guys aware of that if you ever think that it's random. Later that day, he texted me, let me know if you're still alive. I responded a couple of hours later. Now you remembered I existed after days you haven't checked in up on me. He responded he is not trying to hear the drama. I didn't respond to his last text. Instead, getting back to taking care of me. Going to the gym, writing poetry, and talking more to family and friends. On the seventh day, he texted me, good morning, we need to talk. I didn't respond. A few hours later, he said to let me know when you're ready to talk. Last night, he texted me on Messenger and Instagram saying, am I just going to ignore his messages? What do you guys need to talk about? Your relationship's over and you guys don't have anything tied to each other. What is there to talk about? I do love him very much and I really want this to work. Why? Okay, Brown Sugar, I want you to answer for yourself. Why do you want this to work? And your answer better not be, I really like him or I really love him. Give me solid reasons why you actually think a relationship with this man is necessary for you. What is he actually doing for you? Aside from the fact you like him and he has a good heart and you feel connected to him, what has he actually done for you? What is he actually offering you? Nothing. No emotional support. He's not there for you physically. It's not like he's D'ing you down or anything like that. He doesn't take care of anything financially. He doesn't pay for anything. He doesn't even date you properly. He doesn't make you feel nothing. This makes me so mad. Because when you guys say, I want this to work, what do you want to work? The man is giving you nothing. And I feel like sometimes you guys don't recognize you're literally attached to thin air. Like you're attaching yourself to just the fact that you want to feel romantic with someone. That doesn't make you a bad person, but I want you to recognize that's all you want is to feel romantic with someone. The man hasn't done anything for you to be attached to. He's actually done everything that you should feel unattached to him. However, I get so wrapped in our relationship or distracted by his jealousy and lose focus on me. I'm getting older and I don't want to waste my time. No matter how people assume I'm still in my 20s, how old people assume I am, I'm still in my 20s, and that doesn't change the fact that I'm not that age anymore. I want marriage and a family. I've already lost a member. I'm missing another member, which is a husband. Lastly, the last few months, he has been more committed to elevating his work. Irrelevant. Okay. I don't want you to see you want to feed on hopium so bad because you want this relationship to work so bad. So you're looking for any sort of sign or clue that, this is working out or moving in the right direction. He has kept his job for a year consistently. Also, he started working a second job. However, we went on one date the last 3 months and I had to pick the place. We're both 28 years old. What should I tell him? Oh my God. Chat, please explain to her what she should tell him. My advice to you. Very, very simple. You do nothing. And actually, even more than do nothing, I want you to block him on everything. Very simple. There is nothing left for you here. Why would you contact him? For what reason? He's not going to change. He's not going to do anything for you. Assuming he's also 28 years old, he is who he is. And, okay, I just need to give you a dose of reality. The idea that, okay, he's going to start elevating himself and building himself up and be actually prepared for you to do what you need to do. I'm just going to be real with you. Like, that's not going to happen. I don't even want to give you any false hope and say you never say never. It's just not going to happen. Okay. From what you've shown me, the time spent, the only consistency that you have shared with me about him, right? The only consistent part of him I've seen is the fact that he loves to play video games and he's not taking his life seriously enough to want to fix his finances or get a better sort of career. Okay. That's the only sort of consistency he's had in his life and in your relationship with him. So it's better for you to just believe that that is going to be the consistency you're going to see from him than to believe that, magically you're going to see a 180-degree change. The chances of you seeing that within him are slim to none. In fact, they're basically impossible. I think for your own health, mental health, and well-being, the best thing for you to do is to not address him anymore, not speak to him anymore. Simply, he has nothing to offer you. He has nothing he's going to do for you. You have nothing tied to him. And all you're looking, I want you to recognize that within yourself, the only reason you even want to entertain him is because you want a husband, not because you want him. Now that you can recognize that you want a husband and not him, let's figure out what you actually want in a husband. Because I can guarantee you, if you were to write down your criteria of a husband, it's not him. So let's put him to the side. Let's write down your criteria for a husband and let's start doing some things for you, stepping outside of the house where you can start meeting some people who are like-minded and think the way that you do. So for you, it could be in church. For you, it could be in a poetry class. For you, it could be in a book club. Wherever it is that you go when you step outside of your house, that's where you're going to meet your husband who has a similar mindset to you and wants to grow with you, not sit around and play video games having no money. You're so much better than this, Alicia, and I know you can do it, but the first step is to cut that man out of your life. Okay, very simple. Okay. It looks like we have cleared out the relationship advice section. By the way, for those of you who are unfamiliar, because I think some of you probably did this. I answer the free relationship advice section first come, first serve. So I see that some of you have sent your question in here thinking that I'm going to answer it on this show. They don't get answered on this show, unfortunately. If you're in the free version, I have to scroll all the way down here and ask and answer these ones that still haven't been answered. So if you want your question answered today, right now, you're going to have to get into premium relationship advice. But the only way to get in there is by donating to the show. And the link is in, if you're on YouTube, it's in my the pinned comment right there. You just go to that link there, or it's in my TikTok bio, and I answer it there. Okay, because in the free section, I have to go by first come first serve, and there's lots of questions that I still have to answer in the free version. Okay, oh, by the way, when you donate to the show, you got to make sure that you put in your username and the title of your question so that I can see on my phone that that's you. So Sophie says, please help part 1. Sophie says, I'm a divorced African-American mother of 6, mainly adult children. I'm reaching out for a long overdue advice on my wrecked love life. Okay. So after spending 16 years in a failed marriage, my true trauma resets in an abandoned father issues, which I never wanted my daughters to experience. So I stayed in abuse for 16 years, convinced it was for them, but I now realize I was challenging myself to take more BS than my mother to ensure my daughters would never be taken advantage of by a disgusting old man pretending to be their father figures like I had. I'm turning 41 years old, and my eldest just turned 24 only 5 years ago. Okay? Your eldest just turned 24, and only 5 years ago, I was able to admit to her that she was a product of the R word. After 16 years, I spent many years abstinent, but found 2 guys who I dated back to back. When I was on a break with one, I'd be with the other one, and vice versa. Neither was too serious for me, but one was very serious about me and tried to really hard to lock me down, showering me with gifts and even attempting to put down a payment on a house for me and my kids. This is all moving so fast. Sorry. I'm trying to soak it all in as you're saying it, because this is all shocking. But in the end, I ghosted them both for the one I finally fell in love with. We'll call the independent third and focus of this post. Sorry, I'm just like, wow, like that was a lot. You also didn't put in any periods, so like it was even more. So after a few months into COVID, I had to leave my kids to move to a big city to find work, where I found myself stuck for nearly 2 years without my kids. Still kind of on and off with the first 2, but pretty much focused on work to send back home, now paying multiple households. So during this time, you were having a situationship with the first 2 guys, not the third one though. So focused on work. So number 3 and I met at work, which I did not encourage because I am a professional and he is my boss. And too awkward at the time though. Number 3 tried me hard, always coming into my office space just to sit behind me, and once coiling my natural hair between his fingers with a slight pull, saying he just wanted to see if it was pullable, which I found so erotic. I should rephrase that. You found it erotically inappropriate. How do those 2 things fit together? They're erotically inappropriate? So after working together as co-workers for a while, I ended up taking a higher paying job, and through conversations with number 3 to help coordinate my final paycheck, we ended up making plans to go out on a date. Our first date was something the man took me was something wait what? Our first date was something the man took me to IKEA, which for another girl would likely be a turnoff, but for me, I was impressed. He had all these ideas of building modular homes with tiny IKEA kitchen bedroom, living room, bathroom spaces. It was like a trip into his imagination. I really wish you would put periods. Okay. That no other guy ever attempted with me before this. This wasn't some fancy dinner, mini golf, or any other distraction. This was possibilities of the future on the first date. Come on. When he took me home, we kissed for the first time outside of my apartment, and I legit squirted all over myself. Shake my head. I had to run upstairs and shower and clean myself off. I just I'm sorry, like the twists and turns of this story is just like I feel like I'm supposed to laugh, but I'm not sure. Cause like what was that? He kissed you and you squirted? You need that Tracy's dog. You need to go in the link in my description and you need to get that Tracy's dog like I recommend to all of you, because you can't be living like that. You can't. That's like your cup is way too overflowed. You're not going to be making any sort of good decisions in that mind frame. After that, we spent nearly every day together and soon began having pineapples, which was so intimate to erotic, just the freaking best pineapples, the best connection. I convinced myself this man was it. Squirting all over the place. At first, he nearly moved in here. We were living this home life together. And can you believe I was happy cooking and cleaning, doing this man's laundry? You're dickmatized. That's what you are. After 16 years detesting a man's laundry to enjoy making sure this man's clothes smell a certain way, was pressed a certain way, and was actually important. That was actually important to me. Okay, I'll just make you guys all aware. This is what being dickmatized does to you. When a man is dinging you down so crazy, you literally you reset to your factory, like your mind is just, you want to serve him. Okay, and he was so freaking sweet, leaving cards and presents hitting around the apartment like a treasure hunt. So attentive, ready with what I needed before I knew what I wanted, let alone needed. Is this actually what I miss? He was so good, it began to get annoying how up my ass he was. Oh, this is where this goes. It was so good, it began to get annoying how up my ass he was, and any problem I had, he tried to solve it. I know where this is going. Do you know where this is going, chat? I know where this is going. It came to a point where I told him sometimes I'm just venting for him to listen and not respond, which I now know he took massive offense to. I know where this is heading. So, with all these wonderful moments, I, of course, ignored blatant warning signs. For example, he never introduced me to anyone in his life outside of work or ever brought me to where he lived. Never, and there were times where he would go back to different clothes or something, telling me he lived with a homeboy, but honestly, I don't freaking know, because he only ever told me he never told me or showed me anytime I tried to video chat with him, he couldn't answer and video call me back 20 minutes later, always from his car or in the bathroom sitting on the toilet. Could he have been homeless, chat? Never in the living room, kitchen, or bedroom. But I put it out of my mind because this man's business is so mature. He's sweet. He's all around the best. So that means he's honest. How old are you? You think that that's what that means? Because he's nice to you and sweet to you, that means he's honest? Must be on the younger side. No transparency, but honest. I know how stupid that sounds. It does sound very stupid. It is very stupid and very naive. So we were in every every pineapple position. And once after eating me out, he went back home and woke up the next morning with a sore throat. Ew. 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 Okay, like, no diss, but like, why would you add that? That's gross. Ew. Like, you're dissing yourself. Why? I mean, from my own experience, if I'm doing something and she clean, I don't wake up with no sore throat, cause that's making me a little bit concerned. Why he waking up with a sore throat after eating? Ew. I'm sorry, guys. That's nasty, yo. Like, I don't know. That kind of made me feel weird. And left me a voice message saying, "You're the only one I did that with." Is that a flex? Is that supposed to be a flex? I spent all morning typing this out for the discard to discard the end, so I'll be back later. Sorry for leaving you hanging. Okay, so I guess that wasn't it. What was your question though? What do you actually want help with? Let's see if you put something else in a part 2 here. I want to see if there's a part 2 here. Let me scroll all the way down, because like I just don't get what the question was. So it seems like the situation's ongoing. See, there's Sophie. No, it seems like you just kind of typed it out and you got bored and then you just left it. But Sophie, if I'm gonna help you with what you have here, I'm not even exactly okay. So basically, what you're saying is that you're confused on. You haven't been reading the signs basically because you've been digmatized. So I think the best answer for you now, you got to start asking some more questions, because you don't know where he lives. You don't know who he lives with. You don't know what the inside of his apartment looks like, or house, or wherever he says he lives. You don't even know if he's homeless or not. Okay. So these are kind of things that you need to be figuring out. And honestly, like I always talk about order of operations, these are things that you should have figured out at the very beginning, not things that you should be figuring out just now. And I just... I have to be honest with you. It's a mistake anytime you don't do the order of operations correctly. And what I mean by the order of operations is when you don't do the job of asking him questions and learning more about him at the very beginning, so that you can actually make an educated decision on whether or not he's someone that's worthy of sleeping with, right? These are things that you need to be thinking about at the very beginning, not thinking about later in the relationship or after you've already slept with him. Are you following what I'm saying? Obviously, you've already made the mistake now. So now you're trying to backtrack, because now you're thinking to yourself, a lot of this stuff doesn't make any sense, and I don't understand what's going on here. And this is part of the problem when you don't do things with the order of operations. Okay. And so that's what you need to be doing right now, is you need to be holding back on all the squirting you're doing, holding back on how much he's been eating you out, and start focusing on asking questions that you literally say you must get the answer to, or else this is not going to go on. Because you can't continue to build a relationship with someone that you basically don't know, because that's what you're doing, which is why I promise you, this question was sent in a while ago, but I can assure you, as since that time, you're only going to continue discovering things about him that you never knew, that you wish you would have known before. That's how that works. And that's why I always tell you all, order of operations. Ask questions first, get to know him and understand him first before you make a decision about sleeping with him, because you'll be surprised how much stuff you learn after you sleep with him. Okay. Anagram says married and confused. Is that actually your name? I like that. Never heard that before. Anagram. Married and confused. I am 31 and got married 2 years ago to a man. This is a year older than me, but did not have a career or education. So why did you marry that man? What was in it for you? But was going back to school and working to provide. Those were his words. I was so in love with my partner and thought I had the perfect relationship until a month after the wedding, when I discovered that he had been lying for a year, maybe more, about being at work, when in reality he was drinking with friends and using substances. This was the second time he had done this while we had been together, and I had given him an ultimatum. If you go do substances again, I'll leave. I wonder if he actually felt threatened by that. But I didn't, because I was too in love and just gotten married. I was hurt and felt betrayed. I wanted him to feel what I felt. I cheated on him with my best friend. Okay, let's take a stretch, gang. Let's stretch it out here. Cause you talking crazy, girl. Wow. Okay. Wow. You talking crazy, girl. Anagram. You talking crazy. Okay. Let's buckle ourselves up here. We needed to get a stretch in. Cause you talking crazy. All right. So you cheated on the man you're married to with your best friend. Let's see if this continues going in a good direction. Regretted it immediately. I'm so shocked you regretted it. Ended up cutting. Also, side note, I never want to waste an opportunity to let you guys in on the secret that this stupid, I was almost going to curse, this stupid, silly, oh, my best friend is a guy, or if you're a guy, my best friend is a girl, but we're just best friends. Ha, ha, ha. A bunch of BS that everyone is going to try to sell you on. It's lies. Okay? Look what just happened to Anagram. The first person she ran to cheat with on her husband is her best friend. I just never want to lose an opportunity to point that out to you guys. Regretted it immediately. Ended up cutting out my ex best friend forever. And just a couple of months ago, confessed to your husband, I'm assuming you meant to say, what I had done. He forgave me. Did he actually forgive you? Or did he, what I call, fake forgive you? We'll see. We are working on building trust, but I have never forgiven him for lying to me for a full year and marrying me knowing that he was not who he said he was. Okay. I understand that you're hurt. First of all, an eye for an eye doesn't do anything. But also, like I just mentioned before, it is part of your job as an adult to recognize that no human being is going to sit on a date with you, on a first date especially, and tell you all the different ways in which you should not want to date them. Nobody's going to do that. Whether they're a drug addict, whether they're messy, whether they're a hoarder, whether they have no money, whether their credit's bad, nobody is going to sit on a date with you or any sort of dates with you and go into detail about all the reasons that you shouldn't want to date them. I feel like sometimes we forget that we live in a reality where other people are also trying to serve and benefit themselves. As if, yo, you should have let me know and been upfront with me about all the reasons I wouldn't want to date you. Why would they do that? Because then you just wouldn't want to date them and then they would lose. They wouldn't get to have partners. They want to have partners. So they tell you all the good things about them and hide all the bad things. Obviously, it's your job to go out on these dates and be thinking to yourself, I'm going to extract all of the information I possibly can from you so that regardless of what truths you want to share with me or not, I actually know the truth and I know who you are. And I learn that despite the fact that you're more likely and more inclined to hide that from me. Because that's the truth. Nobody is going to come out on dates with you and tell you exactly all the reasons you shouldn't want to date them. It's just not logical. Of course, people are going to make themselves seem amazing in the beginning, which is precisely why I tell you guys not to put so much of your onus on what you feel about someone in the beginning, because it's always going to be good in the beginning. Give it some time and wait around a little bit. Let's see how things work out in the next couple of months when you actually get to know the real person. Okay? But these are part of the things where I understand that you guys got married and you guys were dating before that. But this is why it's so important to be hyper fixated on, like, when people tell you stories about them or their lives, make sure that those stories can be confirmed or make sense. If they don't logically make sense, or you're noticing inaccuracies or holes in their stories about their lives or themselves, these are the type of things you need to be thinking about in your mind where you're saying that doesn't make sense. I'm sorry, that doesn't line up. I'm sorry, I can't confirm that. Then you ask more questions and you ask follow-up questions until things start to make sense and you get the whole picture of who someone is. Then you start trusting them with more of yourself. Also, I confessed to the cheating with my best friend, but not to the other guy I had slept with during a trip. Wow. So let's get this straight. Anagram. I once really liked your name. Now I never want to meet anyone named Anagram. You didn't just sleep with your best friend. You also slept with another guy on a trip. So basically, you what you meant to say is you slept with a complete random, because the guy you met on a trip is obviously not from your town or your city, and you met him on this trip, so he's a random. So you basically, like, what? You went on vacation to Mexico and you slept with one of the men working at the resort? I just I don't know. I'm not sure. What do you even want here? I'm really not sure. Because if it's that painful to you, the idea that he's been lying to you, then just get a divorce. Like, what is getting penetrated by another man that doesn't want to build a relationship gonna do for you in your marriage? I understand that you're hurt, but, like, how is that actually even benefiting you? You get penetrated. The guy that penetrates you doesn't want to build a relationship with you. He throws you into the trash, or he, just wants you as someone does something to penetrate. And you're still married to your husband, who you're having this resentment for. Scotty says, is it a revenge thing? I'm acknowledging that it's obviously a revenge thing, but, like, what is the purpose? You get your revenge, but you're in the same relationship, the same marriage. If you feel that much resentment, just end the marriage. Why continue having the pain and then feeling the pain by getting filled by other men? Those men don't want you, and you don't end up with those men. So you're just in a cycle of feeling pain and getting penetrated by random men. Where's the end goal here? I just don't, like, it's revenge, but revenge for how long? Like, how long are you going to keep getting revenge until it's just a useless waste of your time? Like, you guys got to start thinking with intention, man. I can't stress that enough. You got to date with intention. You got to have jobs and careers within everything you do has to be within. You only have a limited amount of time on this earth. Why do things for the purpose of revenge? You're still in the same marriage. What revenge are you? What is revenge doing? Which meant literally nothing initially, but now I feel like I want to be single and reconnect with him. With the random you slept on when you went on a trip. We don't talk or anything. You're referring to the guy who you slept with on a trip, that we don't talk or anything, but I'm traveling again in a few months and I don't know if I should just end it all. Oh, you're talking about the guy. My husband is now sober and the dynamic has changed. We were always 50-50 on bills. He has not even finished school and I supported him throughout that. Now he pays for the groceries. That's it. I don't depend on him finally, but it would be a huge change and I do love him. I just wish I had known who he really was back then and not have gotten married. Now he is a great person and I have spent 6 years of my youth and life. I don't want to get divorced. I need an outside perspective because I know I'm an avoidant and I'm also not perfect. Should I leave or stay? Also, side note, the other man doesn't even know I'm married, but probably I won't even reconnect with him. Wow, these stories actually they take something out of me. I won't lie to you. I won't lie to you. And I'm gonna try to make this pretty easy for you. I think that you need to start living your life with intention, very truthfully and honestly. Because I think that's exactly what you've not been doing. You slept with your best friend for what reason? Because of anger? So where did that end you up? Nowhere. Still in the same marriage. You slept with a random guy on a trip. Where did that end you? You did it what? Because of anger? Where did that end you up? Absolutely nowhere. Same place you've been. And so eventually it just gets to a point where what are you doing any of this for? You're in a marriage because you say that you don't want to get divorced. Why? Why? Being in a marriage for the rest of your life that you feel resentment towards the person to the point where you want to cheat on him is more beneficial than just ending the marriage and getting a divorce so that you can actually move forward and he can move forward as well. Because just because he was a drug addict at one point in his life, that doesn't mean that he deserves to continuously get cheated on or continuously get disrespected in the relationship because of decisions he made in the past. Obviously, we're all capable of making mistakes and we all can try and get better, including you, right? Because you made mistakes as well. But at the end of the day, if you feel that much resentment towards him that even though he's getting better, you still feel anger because of what he put you through and how he kind of like misled you, then you need to do yourself and him a favor and just divorce him. Because this is what's going to happen. The thing about it is, you're using this as an excuse now and it's recent, so now you feel like you're more validated in that. But if you stay in a marriage with him 5 years from now, 10 years from now, 15 years from now, you're still going to be doing things, right, that are wrong on your part. And you're still going to be going back to the idea that, hey, I'm not doing this thing that's wrong or bad or cheating on you or disrespecting you because I'm a bad person. I'm doing it because of how you misled me into being in this marriage. And I want to give you a news flash. Right? You stop becoming a victim when you start using the fact that someone put you through something as a way to continuously torment them for the rest of your life, for the rest of their life, sorry. Right? So if he has gotten better, which you have acknowledged, he's gotten better and he's built his life back to be someone more in line with what you're looking for. Meanwhile, in that time span, you're only saying to yourself, I don't want this, and I continue to resent him, right? Like you can't then continue cheating on him, going on trips, disrespecting him, going behind his back, and then continue using the excuse that, hey, you misled me that one time a whole bunch of years ago. Like, that's like saying, hey, because you disrespected me the one time, I'm going to continue being in your life, but I'm going to disrespect you 10 times more for the rest of your life, and that's going to be your repayment. At a certain point, if it's really that bothersome to you, just end the relationship. Stop keeping yourself and him in a relationship that you're not even prepared to commit yourself to. I get that you felt misled and I get that you felt bamboozled and it's a horrible feeling, but I just can't stand behind you guys just because you send me in a message where I'm going to champion you for treating someone horribly. You did it the first time, cheating with the best friend. And then not even I cannot fathom. How do you cheat the first time with the best friend? Tell him. He forgives you for it. And then you go and cheat again. It's just like, at that point, I don't want to hear the victim story. I can't do the victim stuff. I can't do it. You did your mistake. You got your revenge. You put him in pain because now he knows, now he's aware of it, and he even forgave you for it. There you go. There's your revenge plot. There's your anger taken out. You got it now. So the next one that you do after that, after he already forgave you, now you're just a bad person. Ain't no more revenge plot. Ain't no more I was sad, I was angry. You ain't a victim no more. You're actually the problem. I can't stand behind this type of stuff. I really can't. Especially when you acknowledge at the end here that he is working and getting better within himself and growing. Right? Nothing wrong with making mistakes, which is why I said I get why you did it initially and you were angry and it was a mistake. But for you to do it, go through all that, put him through that, and then do it again, you ain't no victim no more. You just the problem. So until you acknowledge that you the problem now, I don't know where you're supposed to go from here because you have a problem. Clearly, he's trying to fix his mistakes and work in his life to become a better person, a better version of himself. But clearly, you don't seem interested in anything except the fact that you just don't want to get divorced, but you also don't want to respect your relationship with him. I think the best option for you is to get a divorce. Save you and him while you guys still can. While you're still you have a little bit of time to build new relationships. Next, let's see here. Let me do the two that we had to do today were pretty long, so I want to do a few other people's. Okay, let me see how long this is. Okay, this is not that long. So here we have Audrey. Audrey says, what to do when a man ignores you? Audrey says, hi, Tomisin. I have a question in the chat regarding your ignoring stream, but I don't think you saw it. I hope you're here. In the last point you made, you mentioned reacting nonchalantly to disappearing acts and not taking action against them because the men are expecting us to, okay? I understand your perspective on the effect that it will have on people that ignore us by implying that we don't care enough to address their negligence. Personally, I feel that such a mild reaction would only make them more comfortable with continuing this behavior, okay? You also include the point that how men will test you before they respect you stream in indicating that if you are willing to respond too kindly to whatever treatment they give us, it's only going to train them to regularly behave that way. I do agree with the idea that we shouldn't live on one extreme or the other. However, it's a little difficult to identify the medium. How do we nonchalantly set the record straight then? P.S. Your romance content is full of gems and great information, but your motivational life advice has been very effective in my day-to-day since the beginning of the year. I would love if you spoke more on becoming our best selves and indulging in our life purpose. I'm looking forward to the day I meet a man willing to record, edit, and pay for an advertisement targeted for me to see. LOL. You're the definition of a true influencer. Okay. So I'm glad you asked this question. This was on July 22nd. So I would say to this, that the medium that you need to strike here is understanding. So you have to use what I believe it was Ivy that said it one time in the chat. And I love the way she just said it because it perfectly described what we talked about is discernment. So discernment just means you need to develop the skill set because remember, I'm not meant to be a crutch to you, okay, or any of you. I'm meant to be a tool that you use to build off of and figure out how you're going to implement the strategies and the techniques that we talk about in your own individual life, in your own specific situations. So what I mean by that is you need to grow the ability to use discernment to understand in this situation specifically, what this man did, is this something that he can recover from, right? Or is this something where he has shown me based on his actions that he is not at all what I'm looking for, and I can't even entertain the idea of this being okay. You have to understand, right? Within your relationship, there are going to be ways that people test you by crossing smaller boundaries, and there are going to be ways that people test you by crossing major boundaries. Let me give you a very clear example. For example, if you're in a 2-year relationship with someone and they cheat on you multiple times with the same girl, that's crossing a major boundary, and you find out that's crossing a major boundary. So when you find that out, right, the moment you find that out, you're going to break up with them for good just by finding out that one thing that one time. That's crossing a boundary. The same way it's crossing a boundary if you tell him that you don't like it when he doesn't call you when he says that he's going to call you, or he doesn't keep his word on the dates that you're going to have, or the dates that you're supposed to meet each other. That might be a smaller boundary that when it gets crossed, you're like, I don't like this. This needs to be adjusted. I'm going to withdraw myself until you fix this and adjust this behavior, right? But it's not necessarily something that he can't come back from. You understand what I'm saying? So in the umbrella of boundaries, you're going to have some that are small boundaries, some that are medium boundaries, and some that are large boundaries. Now, here's where you need to develop the ability to use discernment, like Ivy brought up the one time, is you need to develop the ability to understand for yourself what are your small boundaries, what are your medium boundaries, and what are your major boundaries. That way, when someone does something to you, you can identify, okay, this is a time where I withdraw from you so that I can train you to help you understand I don't accept this and this is not something you should continue to do. Or if it's a major boundary, you just completely, there is no withdrawing, you just cut them out of your life completely and you don't speak to them again. So that's where that's where you kind of have to. The medium is your ability to use your own judgment on what can be what someone can come back from and what they'll never be able to come back from. And that is completely up to you and your decision. I can't tell you what should be your boundary and what shouldn't be your boundary, because even if I tell you that, you're using me as a crutch and you're not thinking critically to think to yourself, what's most important to me and what do I tolerate versus what do I not tolerate? I don't want you looking in a handbook and saying to yourself, I'm only going to tolerate this if Tomisin said I should tolerate it, but if it really makes me uncomfortable, then I guess I'll just, I won't care about it, but because Tomisin said tolerate, I'll tolerate it. I don't want you to be like that. I want you to start thinking to yourself, what is most important to me and what am I willing to deal with versus what is not okay with me and I'll never deal with because it's a hard, fast boundary for me. So that's how you kind of manage between the two. You have to be able to use your discernment. There's a difference between someone crossing a boundary where you can say, I'm going to withdraw from you because I'm trying to train you that this is not okay, and them crossing a boundary where you're like, look, you're not at all what I'm looking for. And if you do this, then you're so far gone and we're on such two different pages, you can't come back from it. Right? And you have to be able to differentiate between those two. Okay, guys? So that's the show for today. It went so fast today. I didn't even realize we've already done like over 2 hours today. All right. So for those of you who didn't get your question answered, don't you fret. You can go over to the relationship advice section or premium relationship advice and ask your question in the live chat there. By the way, if you guys want to skip the line, okay, if you want to skip the line in the relationship advice section, you can put your question in relationship advice premium. You just have to donate to the show, and all you have to do to donate to the show is go to the link in my description or the pinned comment if you're on YouTube, or the link in my bio. You go over there, you click relationship advice premium where it says it, you donate to the show, and in your message when you donate, you put your username and the title of your question so that I can match it up and confirm that that's you. All right, guys. So, for those of you who want to follow me on Instagram, my Instagram is right above my head on the left side of the screen. You can follow me there and see everything that I'm doing at all points of the day. Oh, I post a little bit on Instagram, not that much. But you can follow me on there to get a little bit more personal with me. It's on the top left of the screen and on the bottom right if you're on YouTube as well. All right. And for those of you who are on TikTok and you want to rewatch this show, or you want to rewatch past episodes that I've done in the past, right? You can head over to my YouTube channel and you can see that all of the shows. When you go over to my YouTube channel, it's just my name on the top right. You type it in, you go over to the live section, you'll see this live show along with all the other previous live shows with the YouTube and the TikTok live chat embedded in the video, so you never miss any context of the conversation that we're having in the show. All right, guys? I'm here this is a special edition of the show, but regularly I'm here every Monday to Friday at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So you will see me again on Monday, not tomorrow, but on Monday at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So you got to figure out what time that is in your time zone. Until then, arrivederci, au revoir, hasta la vista, adios, goodbye, bon voyage, and I will see you again on Monday. Okay? I love you so much. Bye for now. Bye.